Here with head women's basketball coach Jamie Cluesman after a couple days off. Jamie, you guys had that kind of extended road trip with Carson Newman and Coker, went straight from Jefferson City down to Hartsville, a 3-day road trip. So 7 days off this week between last Saturday, and this upcoming Saturday. I imagine at this point in the season, with about a month and a half left, a little bit less, it's got to feel good to have a couple days rest for your team this week.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a couple stretches where we were playing multiple games in a week, even 3 games in a week. So having, the week between games, I think has been beneficial and hopefully it translates into the game. We were able to pick up our intensity early in the week and then kind of tailor it off and focus really on Catawba. So, like I said, I hope it translates. We've had high energy. We've been very intense and um, there are a lot of things that we were trying to work through, and I feel like we've worked through those, and hopefully it shows.
The easy headline news going into this game tomorrow against Catawba as we talk here on a Friday. Caitlin Ross, 3 points away from setting and breaking the D2 era program scoring record. She was 13 points away against Coker, had 10 points, but contributed in a lot of other ways and what was a very close game for you guys. What kind of like accomplishment does that mean? And I know you and Daryl have talked this season about her not only setting these records in points, but also doing it in assists. But I feel like this will be a good opportunity for people to look back and look at her career and just how big of a deal and how good she's been while she's been here.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously changed our program here, not only on the court, but she's an incredible person off the court, and I hope people have had the chance to realize that they don't know her just as a player. But I've been very fortunate to be able to coach Caitlin, and I was so excited when she said she was coming back for a fifth year, and I've said it in multiple interviews. I don't take a single game for granted being able to coach her because she's like a once in a lifetime player that we as coaches get to coach. So nothing's taken for granted. She plays the game the right way. She works extremely hard, but I think also what people don't realize is she's a very unselfish player. She passes up a lot of shots in every single game. So, this record was coming, but it could have happened even last year. She just is a very unselfish player and she's going to pass up a good shot for a better shot for her teammates. So I think that in itself speaks volumes about the type of player that Caitlin is.
And in mentioning her performance against Coker, it is worth noting she did foul out in that game, so could have maybe had the record, but went out a little bit early. But in that game, just kind of touching on that one, a 75-68 loss for you guys. Very close, hotly contested game the entire time. An interesting atmosphere in there. We'll get into that a little bit later. There were a couple really big performances in that game. Sable Burnside, 18 points. She was big for you guys, especially in that first half, and I would say the middle stages of the game. She's been really good lately, kind of developing into that other score that you guys have. That's her second game in double figures in the last three. I mean, how much does she add to this offense? How much more dynamic does it make it when she's scoring the ball?
She makes it hard for teams to guard us. She has the ability to score in all three areas. She also can post up smaller guards with her athleticism and her ability to elevate on her shots. It's really hard for opponents to contest those. But Sable plays her best when she gets out and runs the floor. She knows Caitlin's going to find her. So if she can get some of those easy transition buckets early on, I think that boosts her confidence. And allows her to, knock down those other shots. So we always try to tell our players if we're struggling offensively, get to the rim, get to the free throw line. And I feel like Sable started to do that, and now she's like built her confidence. And the sky's the limit for her. She's so athletic. She loves the game, so it's nice to finally see like her get rewarded for her energy on the bench in previous years, her energy every single day in practice, and just she's an incredible person as well. So she would much rather her teammates play well than herself. So, like I said, to see her get rewarded and to play as well as she is, it's exciting because she plays the game the right way and she pours her heart and soul into her teammates.
You got another big performance from a freshman in that game. Mackenzie Bremer, career high 13 points. She made three threes in that first half. It felt like they were all in that short little stretch, and she kind of exploded. She's had some really good games this year and has done a lot of things right for a first year player. I'm wondering your thoughts. For me, someone who's watching on the sideline as an outside observer, she seems very confident and almost mature beyond being a freshman playing in her first season.
Yeah, she's a very mature person in general. So I feel like her getting some early minutes earlier in the season has boosted her confidence. She kind of fell off there, after she had her injury in high school. And so to see her boost her own confidence up by just playing hard, she studies the game. Her basketball IQ is at least top 3 on our team. She really understands the game, so I think that creates a lot of her offense. She finds the open seam, she knows how to, like, drift on drives, but she also is a great slasher. She's hard to guard at times, but she's a very smart player, and there are times, I ask a lot from her being a freshman, but she steps up to the plate, she never bats an eye, and she's always locked in. That's something as a freshman you don't see often, but everything that I say, she is taking it and processing it and then doing her best to apply it. So as a coach, you get excited for players like that, especially really young players.
Overall, on the weekend between the two games, Carson Newman and Coker, there was a rare occurrence for you guys. Going into the weekend, you had only lost the rebounding battle in a game once. It happened both times over the weekend, and that's obviously been a strong point for you guys this season. I'm wondering your thoughts on maybe what led to that and how do you guys get back to how good you've been rebounding all year on Saturday?
I think with Carson Newman, we were deflated really early in the game, and they kind of took us out of our rhythm, out of our style of play. So we struggled there. Going into Coker, they have a freshman who leads all of Division II in offense rebounds a game. So, sometimes our focus might have been too much on one or two individual players. They do attempt quite a few threes, so there are a lot of long rebounds. Um, I call those 50-50 balls most of the time, and we just came up short securing those. But, not taking anything away from Carson Newman or Coker, two obviously very good teams. So it was probably one of their keys and goals is to out rebound us, and they were successful. But we can't replay that too much. We got to just move forward, and hopefully that we can get back on track, like you said, and continue to lead in the games with rebounds.
So you've got tomorrow one of the toughest games, obviously, of the season, at least on paper. Catawba, number 8 in the country, best in the Southeast region so far this season. They've got the leading scorer in the South Atlantic Conference, Lyric Thorne, at 20 points per game. What have you seen from them on film, on scouting, whatever it is, that they do really well that is going to be tough to stop?
They're full court pressure. They're gonna play probably 40 minutes of full court pressure. They're super aggressive, but and they're strong with their aggression. Like, they're not gonna shy away from contact. They're gonna initiate the contact a lot of times. So, we've talked all week leading up to that, just taking care of the ball and absorbing contact and finishing through those contact plays. But the biggest thing is we have to defend. They get a lot of paint touches, whether it's with the drive or post entries, and they're very successful at it. So we have to act as a unit defensively, make sure that we constantly have help side on the drives, but also in the post presence because, you know, everybody wants to talk about Lyric, but I think her support around her is what makes her good. Because they're really hard to guard as well. So teams can't solely focus on her because they've got a lot of different weapons.
So the reason I mentioned earlier the atmosphere at Coker, for those that weren't there, didn't watch the game or whatever, it was very interesting for during your game. There were not a ton of fans there to start, and then all of a sudden, in I believe it was late first quarter, second quarter, the entire baseball and what looked like the lacrosse team came in, and they were very rampant and up tempo and really added a good atmosphere to that. You guys are back home this Saturday. Students are back on campus. This is the first game home for that to be the case. It seems like there's kind of a buzz around campus and a little bit of an understanding that it's going to be a really good atmosphere tomorrow.
Yeah, touching back on Coker, they're not used to that, but they were having to come in outdoor sports for their warm-up period, which is required by the NCAA, but thankfully that only lasted 15 minutes and they were back outside. So, it's a fun atmosphere when gyms are loud and electric like that. So I'm hoping that we can draw a good crowd from our campus and our students because it's not very often you get to play a top 10 team in the country. So we need that support. So I encourage everyone to come out and be loud, and give us a little extra boost of energy because it's going to be a long game, but hopefully it's going to be competitive, and we'll do our best to make it exciting.
Well, we're very excited. Hopefully, it's going to be a good atmosphere and hopefully a good game. And we'll see you there tomorrow. Appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.